Yo, it's your boy JT, aka at the Almighty JT. I got another trade recap for y'all. So this one is from a trade I took earlier today. I played Nvidia. Now I actually traded this one twice. I took the same contract 2 times, so I got in, got my profit, got out, and then re-entered, got some more profit, and then got out. And I'm gonna explain to you how I was able to do that using flow as a leading indicator. So, speaking of flow as a leading indicator, so I'm logged on to Capital Flow website, capitalflow.app, my own options flow service. I talk about this a lot in my videos. There's going to be a full tutorial and breakdown on that in the description. So if you don't know about Capital Flow, check that out first and then come back here. So I was looking at, well, first I was looking at the top contracts by premium this morning. So y'all already know this updates throughout the day. So this is obviously not what it looked like right at the open. We ended the day with some bearish flow, but at the beginning, at open at 9:30 a.m., it was super bullish. There were a lot of SPY calls, Tesla calls, and one thing that piqued my interest in particular were Nvidia calls. So the overall flow was bullish at the open, and the top contracts consisted of multiple Nvidia calls that expired this week. So I saw some short-term Nvidia calls, so I wanted to look for a day trade opportunity. So I checked the real-time flow. So I had my minimum price set to 100K, which is at, and I was looking at the weeklies. So let me real quickly show y'all what I was seeing at open on Nvidia. So today is 11/8. So this is 10 minutes in the market open, 10-11 minutes. So this is what I was saying when I checked Nvidia flow 10-15 minutes into the market open. So you can see we're all looking at Nvidia. And these are the orders that were coming through. There were a lot of at the money and out the money calls. So if you've been keeping up with my trade recaps, you know that those out the money calls typically, really I would say 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10. I don't want to say definitely, but majority of the time they lead to an aggressive move to the upside. I've got multiple trade recaps of Nvidia. I think some Amazon ones where you see stuff like this. So again, we're seeing a lot of Nvidia calls with over $100,000 spent. And keep in mind, I set my weeklies filter, so these are all weeklies. Of course, you got a couple puts in there. It's not always going to be all calls or puts, but obviously overwhelmingly to the call side on the Nvidia flow this morning. So 10 minutes into the market open, that's what I'm looking at. So you go to Nvidia's chart. So we can come in right around here. So this is 10-15 minutes. So this is where price was at when I was looking at that Nvidia trade. So price is already moving upwards, right? So like I talk about, when I see that call flow coming in and we're already in an uptrend, I want to look for the breakout of the nearest resistance level. So on my chart, I had the nearest resistance level at 463.96. This is a pivot point. This is R1. Pivot point is an indicator that I talk about. You can see I've got a few other indicators on my chart. I'm actually going to talk about every single one of those in this video because they were all important for these trades that I made on Nvidia. So right here I see we rejected off of this actually within the first couple candles. We pulled back a little bit. So I wanted to look for a breakout of this pivot point of R1. We got that right here. Right here, we kind of broke over it, rejected, but this was really the clean, strong breakout. So I entered calls. I entered 475 Nvidia calls that expired this week on the break of the pivot point. And I got in and out. I took 25%. I took a quick scalp. So that was my first trade. It wasn't a huge profit, but you get in on a breakout, you make 25%, you get out, right? So that's something I talk about with flow a lot. You know, just getting in for those quick scalps, especially when you see that at the money, out the money flow coming in pretty quick. Look for that breakout and play it, right? So like I told you, I got 2 entries on this. So I got out right here. This was a pretty great exit. I got out almost exactly at the top. So we can go ahead and put a line right here for reference for later. So I got out pretty much right at the top, right, of this initial move during the first few minutes of market open. Now as it pulled back, I re-entered right here because it looked like it wanted to hold VWAP. So it pulled back. So VWAP, aka volume weighted average price, VWAP, that is marked on my chart as this purple dot. So this is the average price of the stock across whatever time period you have your chart set to. So mine right now is on the 5-minute time frame. So the way that I look at VWAP is If price is above VWAP, that means the bulls are in control of the market. If price is below VWAP, that means the bears are in control of the market. So we got up, right? You can see even right here, we tested VWAP before we shot up. So it looked like we dipped below it real quick, but it looked like it was going to hold VWAP and continue to move higher, get back above this pivot point. Said, okay, let me load back up, get back in with some profits. So I got back in the exact same NVIDIA trade. It was 475 calls for this week on this candle when I thought that it looked like it wanted to hold VWAP. But unfortunately, as you can see, it did end up rejecting this pivot point. I thought it was going to clear it. I thought we were going to be in for a nice uptrend, but I was wrong. But it's fine, and I'm going to tell you why. So like I said, I'm going to talk about all the indicators on my chart because all of them were respected today. So first off, let's start with right here. This is my 200 SMA, this red line that you see, my 200 simple day moving average. So all of these colored lines, curved lines that you see are moving averages. I'm going to tell you exactly which ones they are, but for me, I just use moving averages. Dynamic support and resistances, so they're kind of support and resistance levels that aren't perfectly horizontal. They move, right? They adjust with the price of the stock. So I look at these as dynamic levels of support and resistance. So you can see on the 200, this is where price actually dropped to on the very first candle. On the first couple minutes, couple seconds of the day, it dropped down here to the 200 SMA and shot up. That was when it made that first move, right? So the 200 SMA was tested this morning, early this morning. So now, like I talked about, I re-entered right here. Now we did end up dropping back below VWAP, and then we tested this line. So this orange line, this orange moving average, this is my 21-day EMA, my exponential moving average. So the difference between SMA and EMA is that the EMAs are going to be a little bit quicker. They're going to be a little bit more sensitive to price movements. So for my shorter term EMA, or for my shorter term moving averages, I use EMA. For the longer term ones, I use SMA. I'm going to continue to talk about that. So we got right below here, right? So we tested my 21 EMA and we bounced, but now we're below VWAP. So now we reject VWAP. So the bears have it right now. So now we drop to this blue line. So this blue line is my 50-day SMA. So I use the 50-day SMA, the 100-day SMA, and the 200-day SMA. So this blue line is my 50-day simple moving average. So after we rejected VWAP, we dropped down to there. Now we bounce, this holds the support, we bounce back up to VWAP. Now keep in mind, I'm still in these calls the entire time. I'm still in these 475 calls. I haven't exited because I'm looking at my chart. I see I got multiple levels of support right here between all of these lines. So I said, okay, I'm okay with taking a little bit of drawdown. This isn't even my first entry. I re-entered with profits. So I was actually still good for the day. Now, I wasn't going to let this bleed too much because I didn't want to give back the gains from my first trade, which really wasn't even that big of a gain. It was 25%. I was sized pretty decently, but I didn't want to let too much and go green to red on my P&L for the day. So I was watching this closely. So we bounced off of my 50-day SMA, this blue line, come back up to VWAP. Now we reject VWAP once again, and we drop down to this purple line. So the purple line is my 100-day SMA. So this is 50 blue, 100 purple, 200 red. So those are the simple moving averages that I had on. Now, I came really close to cutting this one right here. I thought it was over. I thought it was going to take me out of the play. I could have potentially waited for a test of that 200, but like I said, I wasn't even going to let it get down there. This was kind of the last straw for me. And it did bounce. It did end up making a very nice bullish move off of that 100-day SMA. So I said, okay, maybe now we can finally get some action. So we kind of chopped around in here a little bit, right? Now we finally got back above VWAP on this candle here. So at this point, I'm just looking for price to get back above 464. Which is again my pivot point. It's really 463.96, but we're going to call it 464. So we got back up, we rejected that. Now we're above VWAP. Now VWAP is acting as support. So we pull back, we retest VWAP, not just VWAP. You can see I have another moving average right here. This is my 8-day EMA, exponential moving average. So remember, from my shorter ones, from my 8 and 21, those are EMA. For my 50, 100, and 200, those are SMAs. So we retest, so we break above VWAP, we retest VWAP as well as the 8-day EMA, and then boom, you see we get a big breakout candle right here. Now, I was already expecting a retest of 464. Once we had this clean move above it, I was not thinking we were just going to go up to high day and make a new high day. So we're probably going to retest this, which we did. So that was perfectly fine for me. I was okay with the retest. I'm still in calls. I'm chilling. I'm back in profit on my calls. Not much because we came down, we dropped, we chopped a little bit. But I'm still in profit. So at this point, I'm really just looking for a touch of high of day right here, right at 466, which is where we took profits at before. So once we get this retest, we start moving back up. I'm thinking, okay, we're about to get this high of day. As you can see, 1, 2, 3. We got 3 big red candles. Now, I was not concerned, and I'm going to tell you why. Because as I was watching NVIDIA, at the same time, I was watching SPY, or the S&P 500, so the overall market. So there's a couple reasons why I wasn't concerned about these 3 big red candles. So now I have SPY on the left and NVIDIA on the right. So I have my cursor on SPY on the left, but there is a vertical line on the NVIDIA chart on the right, so those correspond to the candles. So the whole morning, as NVIDIA was moving up, SPY was actually dropping. SPY was moving lower as NVIDIA is climbing. So at this point, NVIDIA is moving higher, right? Meanwhile, SPY is dropping. So I'm already moving against the market. So I'm confident in this NVIDIA trade. I say, okay, the market is looking a little weak, it's dropping, but NVIDIA has strength. So if there's one trade that I want to be in calls right now, it's definitely NVIDIA. At this point, NVIDIA was actually one of the few names on my watch list that was green. So shout out to Capital Flow. We definitely did find a winner with that one. So now at this point, this is where we get those three big red candles. So both on NVIDIA on the right and SPY on the left. 1, 2, 3. But now I wasn't too concerned about that with NVIDIA, because on SPY you can see these 3 big red candles. For one, it dropped and made a new low of day. It broke below low of day, and it tanked a lot, right? It came all the way down from 436, what was that, 436.30 to 435. So that was a pretty big intraday move on SPY. Right, made new lows, it was tanking, it looked bad, right? So that's what SPY was doing. But NVIDIA, when it dropped, it didn't even make a new low of day. Not only did it not make a new low of day, it actually made a higher low. So we have multiple higher lows, which is a good sign that we are in a clear uptrend. And I'll demonstrate that by using my trend line tool. So we have a low here, right, for the first candle of the day, and then we move up, we make this high day. Then we have a low right here where it bounced off of my 100-day SMA. And then we get these 3 big red candles and we make another low right here. Now also, you'll probably notice, not only did we come back down to establish this trend line, but we also tested this 100-day SMA once again, which, as you know, was acting as the final level of support during this low right here. So we got multiple touches of a trend line. We are still in a strong uptrend on NVIDIA. I know that the market is dumping, SPY is dumping, SPY is pulling back, it looks bad. But if you look at NVIDIA, the name that I was actually in, calls look good. We're still moving up, so I was still confident. Now I actually added more calls right here. I bought more of the position because we did pull back. Obviously, I was in a little bit of profit right here, feeling good, think we're going to make a new high. We pulled back, but I said, okay, we're still in a solid uptrend. My SMAs, my support levels are still holding. There's still call flow coming in on Capital Flow, and I'm actually not going to be able to demonstrate this on this screen because I was looking at the trade alerts, and as time passes, these update, of course, so I don't think, right, I can't scroll all the way back to the exact trade alerts that I saw, so I'm going to transition into a screenshot that I took so you can see that. All right, so this is what I was looking at as far as the Capital Flow alerts. So if you don't know what Capital Flow alerts are, they just let you know when a certain option contract is getting bought multiple times by big money traders. So in other words, these specific option contracts here have been bought so many times with so many different large amounts of money. So it actually triggers an alert to let you know that this is a trade worth looking at. There is going to be a full tutorial in the description of this video because I get kind of in depth with the Capital Flow alerts there, how they work, how you can use them. Super powerful tool. But anyway, this is what I saw for the Capital Flow alerts. So this is a screenshot. So this was at 11 a.m. There were NVIDIA 460 calls that expired this week, 11/10. And then a few minutes after that, there were some more NVIDIA 465 calls that expired this week, again 11:10. So as I'm in this trade, as I'm holding it, I still see the real-time flow. There's still a lot of calls coming in, and there's multiple same week NVIDIA call alerts also being triggered. So I know that there's still large amounts of money going into NVIDIA, which is, again, for me, just confirmation that I'm already in a great trade. Okay, so that's what I was looking at for the trade alerts on capital flow. Now, like I talked about, I got back in that same position I added. I didn't get out. I'm still in calls. We're at this point, now we've lost a profit. Now we're back to red. So I averaged down to lower my average cost. And like I said, we're continuing to make higher lows. So now at this point, I'm just looking for a higher high, or in other words, a breakout above that previous high of day. So I'm averaged in, average down. So now we're moving up, we're moving up. So initially we reject 466, that's okay. But then boom, right here, this candle, we get a breakout above high of day. I took some profits right here because at this point I've got multiple contracts. I had averaged down. So I took a little bit of profits right on the break of 466. It was a breakout candle. Now at this point I still have a couple contracts left, a couple runners. So my next target after that is my final, well, not my final pivot, but my next pivot R2, which is at 468.37. You can see we got right up there and rejected pretty much right off of that, and that ended up being the high of day. So this was the final exit from my day trade on NVIDIA. So this was a great trade. This was a great day trade. We took two of them, really 2 day trades. So we got in. And I wanted to make this video to show y'all a couple things. For one, capital flow is always a leading indicator. So that's something to keep in mind. Just because you see bullish flow on capital flow doesn't necessarily mean you're going to look at the market and see bullish action on the charts, because the flow is not representing what's happening right now. It's representing moves that could potentially happen in the future. So that's what we saw. So even as NVIDIA is pulling back, as it's dumping, there's still call flow coming in on NVIDIA. There's still call alerts coming in, still trade alerts coming in, right? And that for me was just additional confirmation that, yeah, we might be pulling back, but based on the flow, I know this is still a good trade. I know the target can still be hit. My first target at high of day and my second target at 468.37. So another great trade recap. I hope y'all like these. I'm going to keep them coming. If you want to get access to capital flow, the link is going to be in the description. It is $35 a month to join capital flow, but with everything that you get, real-time access to flow, you get the trade alerts, you get the call premiums, you get all type of filters. Like I said, if you're not familiar with capital flow, check out the tutorial video that's in this description. Definitely get familiar with capital flow. I use this personally to make all my trades. I don't take a trade without looking at flow first. And I did call this out in my trading community. Not just called this out, but I actually live traded this in my trading community. So I was sharing my screen this morning, and members of my group could see my screen and could hear me talk through this in real time. So if you don't just want the trade recaps and you want to be able to see and hear me go through these trades in real time, which of course gives you the benefit because you can get in and make money with me, which some of my members did, you can join my Discord community, which is called Impact Investments. The link for that will be in the description as well. That is $49 a month. Both Capital Flow and Impact Investments come with a 7-day free trial. You can check them out for a week completely free. See if you like it, see what you think, play around with it. And if for some reason you decide it's not for you, just cancel and pay nothing. So definitely encourage y'all to at least start a free trial. The links to both will be in the description, as well as some more tutorial videos for my Capital Flow platform. So that's all I got for y'all. Appreciate y'all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will keep these coming. Peace.